with me, Mrs. B.
The Elf on the Shelf, A Christmas Tradition by Carol Abersole and Chanda A. Bell. Illustrated by Coe Steinward. Have you ever wondered how Santa could know if you're naughty or nice each year as you grow? For hundreds of years, it's been a big secret. It now can be shared if you promise to keep it. At holiday time, Santa sends me to you. I watch and report on all that you do. My job's an assignment from Santa himself. I am his helper, a friendly scout elf. The first time I come to the place you call home, you quickly must give me a name of my own. Once you are finished, my mission can start. What will you call me? Markle or Zart? Will it be Foddle, Criddle, or Clyde? Frisbee's cute too, but you must decide. Each night while you're sleeping, to Santa I'll fly, to the North Pole, right through the dark sky. Of course, Christmas magic helps me to be quick. I laugh with my friends and report to Saint Nick. I tell him if you have been good or been bad. The news of the day makes him happy or sad. A push or a shove, I'll report to the boss. But small acts of kindness will not be a loss. In the car, at the park, or even at school, the word will get out if you broke a rule. I'll be back at your home before you awake, and then you must find the new spot I will take. You'll jump out of bed and come running to see who'll be the first to spy little old me. Maybe the kitchen, the bathroom, or den is where you will find me, your special elf friend. I can hide on a plant, a shelf, or a frame. Where will I be? Let's make it a game. There's only one rule that you have to follow, so I will come back and be here tomorrow. Please do not touch me. My magic might go, and Santa won't hear all I've seen or I know. I won't get to tell him that you've said your prayers, or helped to bake cookies, or cleaned off the stairs. How will he know how good you have been? He might start to think you forgot about him. I can't speak to you, so says Santa Claus. All of us elves have to follow his laws. I'll listen to you. Tell me your wishes. Would you like a game or some tiny toy dishes? The gleam in my eye and my bright little smile shows you I'm listening and noting your file. The final decision with Santa now rests. What do you think? Will you get your request? The night before Christmas, my job's at an end. The rest of the year with Santa I'll spend. So blow me a kiss and bid me farewell. I'll fly away when I hear Santa's bell. Of course I will miss you, but wait till next year. When the holidays come, I'll again reappear. Until then, I wish every girl and each boy a Christmas of peace and a year full of joy. The end. Santa Duck and His Merry Helpers by David Milgram. Christmas was coming. That meant it was time for Nicholas Duck to put on his official coat and hat and help collect wish lists for Santa. He couldn't have been happier. Jingle quack, jingle quack, jingle all the quack. Then Nicholas realized he was being followed. Oh, what fun it is to quack on a one-horse open sleigh. Quack! It was his little brothers and sister. What are you doing? Why are you dressed like that? Hi, Nikki. We're gonna be Santa's helpers too. Nicholas explained that you can't just decide to be Santa's helpers. He explained that it is a very, very special position, and you have to be selected by Santa himself. Besides, the job is taken. We can help Santa if we wanna. Yeah! And boy, do we wanna! And since there was nothing Nicholas could do to stop them, he continued on his way. We're gonna be better helpers than you. We're gonna be Santa's favorites. Oy vey. Soon, Nicholas met a skunk. Hi, Santa Duck. This year, I'd like a bottle of perfume, just like last year. Certainly. How would you like 2 bottles of perfume? Just as he feared, Nicholas' brothers and sister were messing everything up. Really? Do I smell that bad? I can get you 3 bottles. I'll get you 4. Make it 5. I'll get you 50. Things got even worse with the raccoon. I'll get you 2 trash cans. I'll get you a garbage truck. How would you like your own dump? And the beaver. An axe? That's kid stuff. I'll get you a chainsaw. Oh boy. I'll get you a bulldozer. I'll get you a Hoover Dam. By the time they met the frog, Nicholas could hardly take it anymore. I'll get you a beautiful princess. I'll get you a castle. I'll get you your own planet. Wow. All I had in mind was a box of flies. That's enough. Have you all lost your marbles? Christmas isn't just about gifts. Huh? What? That's ridiculous. Nicholas tried to explain. Christmas is about something more. You mean like popcorn balls and candy canes? Or do you mean like getting 2 weeks off of school? Wait, I know. Is it about decorations? Is that it? And cookies? And lighting the menorah? No, none of that is what it's really about. Then Nicholas explained the true meaning of Christmas. It's about love and goodwill and kindness and giving. Do you mean like being nice to your brothers and sister? And letting them help Santa even if you think you are some kind of important big shot? Is that what you mean? What could Nicholas say? His family was right. Christmas was about letting them help Santa too, which is just what he did. And the froggy wants his own galaxy and a kingdom. Ho, ho, ho. Do you think he might settle for a box of flies? Maybe, Santa. Santa thanked them all, and the ducks went home. Now do you see what Christmas is all about? I think we do. But we might have to help you again next year to be sure. Can I have your hat? And they ate popcorn balls and candy canes and sang Christmas songs all night long. Silent quack, holy quack, 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 quack. The end. Santa Claus and the Three Bears by Maria Madugno, illustrated by Jane Dyer and Brooke Dyer. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears. A great big papa bear, a middle-sized mama bear, and a wee little baby bear. It was Christmas Eve, and they were busy decorating their house with candy and berries and icicles. Papa Bear was bringing in a tree from the forest. Mama Bear was preparing Christmas pudding. And Baby Bear was busy getting in the way. Even though he was a baby, he was still pretty big. The stockings were hung and the tree was decorated. When Mama Bear called everyone to dinner, she put the Christmas pudding in a great big bowl for Papa Bear. She put some in the middle-sized bowl for herself, and she put some in a wee little bowl for Baby Bear. But when they sat down to eat it, the pudding was too hot. "Let's take a walk while the pudding cools," said Papa Bear. "We can see all the Christmas lights," said Mama Bear. "I'm coming too," said Baby Bear, and the 3 bears set out together. Meanwhile, Santa had finished delivering presents to everyone in the southern hemisphere, and he was halfway through the northern part of the world when his sleigh landed on the roof of the 3 bears' house. All 3 bears were on Santa's list for Christmas presents. Their home shook and rumbled as Santa Claus tumbled down the chimney. Santa stood up and brushed himself off. He looked around and saw the pudding on the table. After eating milk and cookies all night, the pudding looked tasty and warm. "Christmas pudding! What a splendid idea!" Santa exclaimed, and took a spoonful from the great big bowl. "This pudding is too hot," he said, and tasted the pudding in the middle-sized bowl. "This pudding is too cold." He decided to move on to the pudding in the wee little bowl. "This pudding is just right," he said, and he ate it all up. Then Santa Claus sat down in Papa Bear's chair. "This chair is too hard," he said. He sat down in Mama Bear's chair. "This chair is too soft." And then he sat down in Baby Bear's chair, and it was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So then Santa bounced up and down a little bit just to get comfortable, and the chair broke, and Santa landed, boom, on the floor. Santa picked himself up and decided he needed a little nap before continuing on his way. He took his sack and went upstairs, where he found 3 beds in a row. Santa Claus lay down on the bed of the Papa Bear and said,
"This bed is too high."
And he got up and tried the bed of the Mama Bear.
"Whoa, this bed is too low,"
he said as he rolled off onto the floor. Last of all, Santa Claus tried the wee little bed of Baby Bear, and it was just right. So he snuggled under the covers and fell fast asleep. By this time, the three bears were returning home.
"Somebody has eaten my pudding! Somebody has been eating my pudding!"
said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been eating my pudding," said Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody has been eating my pudding," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice, "and has eaten it all up." The three bears looked around and saw that someone had indeed been there.
"Somebody has been sitting in my chair,"
said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice, "and has broken it to pieces." The three bears ran upstairs to see if they could find the mysterious visitor.
"Somebody has been sleeping in my bed,"
said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been sleeping in my bed," said Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody is sleeping in my bed," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice. "And who could it be?" The three bears looked at Baby Bear's bed. They saw lots of white hair, a red jacket covered with soot, and sticking out from the bottom of the blanket, 2 black boots. "It's Santa Claus!" cried Baby Bear.
"Oh no, and ho ho ho,"
said Santa Claus.
"Promise you won't tell anyone you saw me, please?"
Then Santa reached into his sack and pulled out a great big present for Baby Bear, a middle-sized present for Mama Bear, and a wee little present for Papa Bear. Baby Bear was very happy. "Can I open it?" he asked. "Not till morning," said Mama Bear.
"Morning,"
said Santa.
"I'd better get going."
The three bears felt the house rumble and shake as Santa went up the chimney and back to his sleigh.
"Sorry about the chair," Santa called. "I'll bring you a new one next year."
And with that, Santa shook the reins and the sleigh took off into the night. The end. 17 Christmases. Written by Dandy Dally McCall, illustrated by Michelle Noisette. "17 Christmases all in a row. Get packing, get cracking, get ready to go. With all kinds of kinfolk we really must see. We're wrapping and mapping and ready to flee. But it's weeks before Christmas, at least 2 or 3. First off to LA and to Grandma Kincaid. We don't drink hot chocolate, we toast lemonade. We don't deck the halls, but we deck the deck bright, pretending we're wise men who followed the light that guided the way that miraculous night. Then we head out for North Carolina. In North Carolina, we join in the search for Cousin Ben's costume. He needs it for church. I dress as a shepherd and Ben is a sheep. We rush to the stable, then softly I creep. Right there in the manger, the baby's asleep. Then we drive up to cold Colorado. We reach Colorado to see Uncle Zeke, who lives in a cabin on top of Pikes Peak. We build us a snowman. It looks like Aunt Joe. Then fall to the ground and make angels of snow. 3 Christmases down and just 14 to go. Now we're off to my aunt's ranch in Texas. It's Christmas in Texas with Dad's sister Sue. I stopped counting cousins at 72. We dive in head first for our Christmas Eve swim and listen to music from Great Uncle Jim. I wonder if Jesus would like this old hymn. Then we drive to my grand's in Missouri. In Missouri, my granny serves turkey and ham, potatoes, tomatoes, and biscuits with jam. We all clean our plates till we're very well fed, then snuggle up close while the Bible is read. We fit 14 children in only one bed. Then head for the hills of Ohio. In Ohio, my mother hugs Grandpappy Pete, who calls in the neighbors who live on his street. Then other folks join us. We sing door to door, a choir of 100 or possibly more. I never got chills just from singing before. Then it's time for great grandpas in Philly. I love Pennsylvania. We chop down our tree and carry it home, my great grandpa and me. Our tree's way too big, but we push and we shove. Great Gramps waves his hand toward the bright stars above and tells me that Christmas is proof of God's love. Then we pack up to see New York City. Washington, we start driving east, but my mom hollers, wait, we can't forget Peg back in Washington State. So we backtrack a bit without any debate and celebrate Christmas at Peggy's estate. This Christmas, I'm thinking, must be number 8. Then we drive back to France in New York. New Yorkers are noisy and Christmas is loud. We shop in the city, get lost in the crowd. We see a parade and enjoy decorations and hear Merry Christmas in 7 translations. We pray that Christ's love spreads to all of the nations. Then off to the folks in Chicago. In the heart of Chicago, my great-grandma Kate has mistletoe dangling and lying in wait. I try to dodge kisses but get nowhere fast. I sit by my great-grandma who's having a blast and telling us stories of Christmases past. Then we bundle up good for Alaska. Alaska, Montana, Maine, Indiana, Nebraska, Louisiana. We have a nice Christmas with kin in Alaska, then drop in to visit our friend in Nebraska. We bake hot cross buns down in South Indiana and cook up some pralines in old Louisiana. My uncle's in Maine and my aunt's in Montana. Then we pile in the car one last time. Back home to Kentucky, the last is the best. It's way past December, but still, I feel blessed. Our Christmas tree's dry, all the needles are brown, the fruitcake is moldy, our stockings are down, and Jesus is here in my very own town. So I hum, happy birthday to you. I think of the Savior and climb into bed, while visions of Christmases dance in my head. I thank God for Jesus and family galore, For 17 Christmases, never a chore. And since I'm just 8 and my sister is 4, they tell us that someday we'll have even more. The end. What Dogs Want for Christmas by Candy Radzinski. Dear Santa, I have the aroma of stinky feet. Please send me something so I'll smell sweet. Love, General. Dear Santa, I do like eating a nice leather shoe, but maybe I better try something new. Love, Benny. Dear Santa, I like to help guide your sleigh. I even practiced on my own today. Love, Harley. Dear Santa, my ears hang down to my feet. Can you fix them so they're short and neat? Love, Daisy. Dear Santa, I know you really care. Please send me something warm to wear. Love, Sam. Dear Santa, I think these treats were meant for you, but it looks like there's enough for 2. Love, Goldie.
Dear Santa, I'd like a frosty new friend with a magic hat. Imagine the fun we could have with that. Love, Reggie.
Dear Santa, I need something to help me get around 'cause my belly's too close to the ground. Love, Ruby. Dear Santa, I love some mittens made of Persian kittens. Love, Watson. Dear Santa, I love to express my heart and soul, so send me something to rock and roll. Love, Baxter. Dear Santa, seeing you would be great, but I'm getting sleepy. It's getting late. Love, Miss Maddie.
Dear Santa, I like a soft, warm place to sleep at night and a cuddly teddy bear tucked in tight. Love, Rufus.
Dear Santa, I like to help trim the tree. Please send an ornament just for me. Love, Pudge.
Dear Santa, what I want most is a loving home with someone to hold me and call me their own. Love, Scout.
The end. God Gave Us Christmas by Lisa Ton Bergen, art by David Hahn. Mama, Little Cub asked one night, who invented Christmas? Was it Santa? No, Mama Bear said. God invented Christmas. God gave us Christmas. Is God more important than Santa? Oh yes, much more important, Mama said with a smile. The next morning, Little Cub sleepily climbed into her lap. Can we go find Santa, Mama? He lives around here someplace, I think. Santa is hard to find, said Mama. But we can go find God. God is everywhere. Yahoo! Cried Little Cub. I didn't know we could find God. Oh, yes, Mama said. We can always find God. Little Cub looked over her shoulder and whispered, can we leave them at home? Yes, Papa will watch the little ones. You and I can go alone. We will go find God. I will see how He gave us Christmas. Yes, little cub, you shall see how God gave us Christmas. The next morning, little cub and Mama filled their packs, kissed their family goodbye, and set off to find God and see how He gave them Christmas. They walked up to the top of one mountain and down the next, and up another mountain where they set up camp. Little Cub was so tired that she went right to sleep. But Mama nudged her while it was still dark. Mama, why are you waking me up? Because it's God, little cub. Come see. What is that? Little cub asked in wonder as she watched the dancing lights in the sky. That is God at work, little cub. He sent His only Son as a baby so that we would know light from dark. Jesus is the light of the world. Jesus is how God gave us Christmas. The next day, they arrived at a huge lake. All at once, with a mighty roar, a chunk of ice cut away from the cliff and fell into the sea. What is that? Little Cub asked, covering her ears and leaning into Mama. That is God, little cub. He's so powerful, He can command the water to freeze and the glaciers to melt. He is mightier than any king on earth. And because He is all powerful, He made Jesus king of all kings. But Jesus was just a baby. How could He be a king? All kings begin as babies. God knew we would need someone we could touch and see and smell. Mama paused to sniff little Cub's neck, making her giggle. To understand just how much He loved each one of us. Mama awoke little Cub again before the sun came up. She pointed to the east at a star that changed from green to red to green again and shouted out in many points. Is it God again? Little Cub asked, rubbing her eyes. Yes, Jesus is called the bright morning star. He is always with us, and He first came when God gave us Christmas. But what about Santa? Little Cub asked. Did God give us Santa? Santa Claus reminds us about many good things like generosity and care. But it is God and Jesus that we celebrate most come Christmas. We always want to thank God for giving us Christmas. On the way home, Mama Bear stopped by a tiny flower peeking up from the hard frozen ground. Oh, you are too early, little flower, she said. Little Cub, Jesus is like this flower. God in our world, living where you wouldn't expect Him, surprising us. Christmas is a lot about surprises. Like presents. Yes, Jesus is the best present of all. And God would have given us that present even if it was only for you. Only for me? Only for you, little cub. God gave you Christmas. Mama and little cub came upon a church glowing with warm light, Soft voices reached out to them singing. What are they singing, Mama? About the night God first gave us Christmas, when Jesus was born. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. Would Jesus have come for mean old Maggie the moose or grumpy old Frankie the fox? Little Cub whispered. Maggie, Frankie, any of us. Jesus is a present for everyone. Grumpy or happy, mean or kind, God gave us all Christmas. Little Cub was glad to be back at home that night in her cozy bed. Thanks for showing me God, Mama. There isn't anything I'd rather do, sweet child, she said with a kiss. Night-night. Little Cub went to sleep and dreamed of bright stars and northern lights, of a king born as a tiny baby, angels singing over him, and woke up to Christmas. Yahoo! She cried. God gave us Christmas again! The end. The All I Ever Want Christmas Doll by Patricia C. McKissick and Jerry Pinkney. Christmas always came to our house, but Santa Claus only showed up once in a while. Will Santa Claus come this year? My two sisters put me up to ask. Mama tied on her apron. One thing for sure, chickadees, he won't stop by if the house is dirty, she said, stripping the yellow newspaper off the walls. Mama once explained that she called us chickadees because those little birds huddled together, chattering, twittering, and sharing everything they had, like us. Filled with excitement, we began stuffing the cracks and tacking up fresh paper that would keep out winter winds, making our house ready for Santa Claus. But I sure didn't want to throw away the page from the Pittsburgh Courier with the Baby Betty doll advertisement on it. Each night before falling asleep, I'd imagine us playing together. Baby Betty is all I want, ever, I announced the week before Christmas. Stop, Nella, shouted Eddie Bernice, who never let me forget she was the oldest. We're in a depression. Why you wishing for something you ain't never gonna get? Yeah, not in a million zillion years, little Dessa added, giggling. I flat out refused to give up my dream. So, without my sisters knowing it, I wrote Santa Claus a letter and sent it all the way to the North Pole. Finally, it was Christmas Eve. We all sang Silent Night, and then we girls climbed into bed and snuggled under the new quilt Mama just finished. Daddy told us the story of a special baby born in Bethlehem's stable long ago. And even though we were too excited to fall asleep right away, the Sandman overcame us one by one. We were awake at dawn. It's Christmas! Eddie, Bernice, and Dessa shouted. I leaped off the bed, bubbling over with excitement. It's Christmas! Mom and Daddy stirred from behind their sleeping curtain. What little mice girls are disturbing folks for a day in the morning? Daddy grumbled, pretend acting angry. Merry Christmas, chickadees, Mama said, giving us each a sack filled with English walnuts, a peppermint candy stick, an orange, and a box of raisins. It was the most Christmas we'd ever had. Daddy held one last package behind his back. "Merry Christmas, daughters," he said as he presented it to us. There before us was a for-real, store-bought, brand-new Baby Betty doll, the color of chocolate, with rosy cheeks, black curly locks, and thick eyelashes. She was 1,000,000 times prettier than I could have imagined. "Oh," cooed Eddie Bernice. "Uh-huh," Dessa giggled. "And she's mine," I declared. Dessa grabbed Baby Betty's leg. Eddie Bernice elbowed in and snatched the doll's arm. "No, I'm the oldest," she cried. "Mine," Dessa wailed. "Me," I shouted. "No!" We tugged and yanked and shoved and pulled until Daddy separated us. "Eddie Bernice Pearson, Laura Nell Pearson, Odessa Mae Pearson," he said. When Daddy called us by our whole names, in birth order, we knew we were in trouble. So we shut up and stood shoulder to shoulder. Gathering us within the circle of his arms, he scolded, "3 times shame on you for fighting over a Christmas gift." He looked at us with disappointed eyes. "I have chores to do. Work this out and no more squabbling." When the door closed, Mama turned to us and raised an eyebrow. "Okay, chickadees, fix it," she said. Then she walked away, holding on to my doll. I spoke right up. "Who wanted Baby Betty the most?" "You did," Dessa and Eddie Bernice answered grudgingly. "And who said it was silly to dream about something I could never have in 1,000,000,000 years?" "We did." "And who never gave up and wrote a letter to Santa?" "You did." "So who do you think Baby Betty should belong to?" Eddie Bernice shrugged. "You, I guess." Little Dessa nodded. When Mama heard we were all in agreement, she handed me Baby Betty, and the doll's eyelashes fluttered. "You are all I want. I don't need anything else," I cried. "We'll see," said Mama. After I ate and dressed, I had the whole day to play with my new doll. First, I sang to her, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray." Eddie Bernice and Dessa watched for a minute, but when I didn't include them, they left. Through the window, I could hear them taking turns jumping rope with the measure of Mama's clothesline. "Having you is more fun than any old jump rope," I whispered to Baby Betty. She blinked and I hugged her tight. I sang every Christmas carol I knew, from Joy to the World to Jingle Bells. Baby Betty was a good listener, but my sisters always sang harmony with me, and Baby Betty couldn't sing a note. "Oh well," I said, rocking her gently. "Let's tell stories instead." I began with Goldilocks, followed by Little Red Riding Hood. When I finished, there was only silence. My sisters always clapped, but Baby Betty couldn't move her hands. "Maybe you like Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby," I tried and set in. At least I got to my favorite part. In my best storytelling voice, I said, "Brer Rabbit says, 'Tar Baby, you better speak like you got some sense or I'll pop you upside your head.'" But that Tar Baby didn't say nothing. It sat there in the road looking. That part always made Dessa giggle, but not Baby Betty. having fun?" Mama asked, pouring herself a cup of tea. "I guess so," I replied. Then suddenly I got an idea. "A party!" I shouted. "Baby Betty and I will have a tea party, same as Miss Florence, the lady you work for." Quickly, I spread a quilt over Mama's trunk, then placed an imaginary cup and saucer in front of my doll. After serving, I took a sip with my pinky finger raised. "This is very, very delicious tea, isn't it, Miss Baby?" I said properly. No answer. I tried again. "I say, isn't this delicious tea?" Baby Betty sat there. Could have been the tar baby herself. "You better answer me, girl," I shouted. Nothing. Baby Betty was never going to utter a word. "Okay," I said, throwing up my hands. "If you don't want to play with me, then I don't want to play with you either, so there." And I stormed away. Through the window, I could hear Des and Eddie Bernice chattering, twittering, and sharing. I felt like a lone chickadee. As I stood listening to my sister's hand clap song, Mama came over and put her arms around me. "I think they miss you," she said. "Doesn't seem like it." "Why don't you ask them to your party? I don't think Baby Betty will mind." "You don't?" Mama just smiled. I didn't have to think about it long. I grabbed the doll and rushed outside. "What do you want? We're busy," said Eddie Bernice. I kicked at the ground. "Baby Betty wants you to come to our tea party," I said. "She does?" Dessa asked. "Mm-hmm," I said. My sisters looked at each other. "Who would get to pour the pretend tea first?" Eddie Bernice asked. "You would," I answered reluctantly. "Who'll get to sit at the head of the tea table?" Dessa put in, her arms folded across her chest. "You would." I hugged Baby Betty. "You know, she can't do much," I explained. "But she sure is pretty." Baby Betty's eyelashes fluttered and we all giggled. Then I handed Baby Betty over. All the rest of Christmas Day, my sisters and I played with our doll. We sang Christmas carols in harmony and shared stories about once upon a time. Dessa knew just when to laugh, and Eddie Bernice knew when to clap. We munched on peppermint candy and orange wedges and ate one raisin at a time so they'd last. But my favorite part was when I poured a pretend cup of tea. And with my baby finger crooked ever so daintily, I said, real prim and proper like, "Isn't this the best Christmas ever?" The end.